So we're going to start with Benzinga. We're going to go through our usual pre-market live analysis. We're going to go over the global indices, and then we're going to look at the top movers right now. We do have a big mover right now that's up about 100%, but it's already faded a lot of the gains. So we got about 3 or 4 volume movers, basically. So we got TLSA, not Tesla, IMBI, which is up 26%, SRNE, which has just been kind of a perpetual on the list, and then MICT, a new entrance here. So that's what we're going to be covering for today. Good morning to you, Chi-Chan. Good to see you. Sasanki Pandrike, I wonder how long you have been trading for. 20 years. I have been trading for 20 years. It's in my bio, but yeah, I've been trading for 20 years. So 2 decades, quite a long time. And I've traded as a broker on Wall Street. I've traded for FXCM. I was an FX broker on Wall Street. I traded for a hedge fund. It's called the JNF Hedge Fund. And I've been trading professionally and privately since, 2000. So quite a long time. Okay, so we're going to jump into this. So gold market's very kind of muted. Europe, very, very mixed. Nothing huge to the upside, nothing huge to the downside. Same thing with Asia. Only the Nifty was a big gainer on the day. So it could be kind of one of those slow, low volatility crawler sessions today. That's certainly a possibility. Yeah, so that is definitely a possibility of how today could play out. So yes, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We did have some big announcements this week. We had Walmart had their earnings announcement, and they had a huge beat, and so the stock just skyrocketed, which we'll take a look at. But it also gave the gains when they started to get deeper into the earnings report, and they had said, hey, they're expecting revenues to be subdued going forward. So huge just jump, and then lost almost all, in fact, all of it. So this is quite interesting. I'm kind of hoping we get a dip on Walmart because I'd like to buy. So yes, Nano Amine, hello to you. Good to see you as well. Okay, so that's markets. I'm going to go over MICT. We're going to go over SRNE, IMBA, TLSA. We'll go over some positions I'm in right now and options and stock trades. And that's pretty much it. And then we'll look at some FX if we have time. We did start a little bit late, but we'll do that. So first one on the list, MICT. Okay, so what's the big news on MICT? Let's see here. Yeah, that's the one. Micronet receives first major order for smart cam following pilot trial with global. Okay, so pursuing a new highly innovative video telematics product, SmartCam, which integrates advanced software for AI functionality to serve the fastest growing segment of the destination. 45 billion global telematics market. Telematics. What is that? What is telematics? Telematics is merges telecommunications and informatics. Got it. So GPS and things like that. Okay. So they got a pretty big order for their telematics product. Okay, so that's good. All right, so looking at MICT, let's move you over here. Huge. What is that? 360. Wow, that's almost 300%. That is a big jump. So let's mark the pre-market highs. That's the first thing you want to do anytime you see a big gap. Or the volume is 4.6 million, and their average is 143K. So you're talking, what is that? 25 times normal volume. That's huge. Okay, so mark the pre-market high, spike highs, and let's see where that is on the weekly. We go back on the weekly, it's just a few dollars below the all-time highs. So I'm going to mark the all-time highs just so I have an idea. And okay, so do we have anything on the weekly that is going to run as resistance? So we are at 984. There's really going to be nothing in terms of resistance between here and 1192. There is going to be some decent pullback support if we do get a pullback, which I doubt, but that's at $6. So if we happen to get a pullback towards $6, oh, okay, we had a nice spike low there. Okay, so we had a spike low towards this base here. So this $6, right around $6 is going to be an interesting support. You do have a base of support, which is showing up on the 5-minute chart here. So right around 6.7. That's where just this base, and it did push up 736, but it's not huge. So I would watch for more of a 6 pullback on this one here. So I'll set up an alert. And if the price action and time and sales looks good at 6, then I'll look to get long, try and touch the pre-market highs, try and get the pre-market highs at 959, and then a break up towards 11. Where's my alert screen? Why are you not coming on? What are you doing? We are live. You're supposed to work right. Okay, so that's MICT. SRNE, anything crazy on SRNE? Any SRNE is just, yeah, I'm not totally crazy about SRNE, but let's pull it up. Yanni's saying, if your TV screener is not working, make sure your show symbols for the last session is not ticks. You can find in the screener when you right-click ticker. Okay, let's try that. I came up on that one. Why was it not coming up before? It's up now. It's up now. That's interesting. All right, we'll take a look at that in just a second. So let's go through this list here. SRNE is just, it's had a lot of pre-market moves and then not manifested. You know, so I feel like there is a decent base around 10. It's decent. You know, it's this spike high here. You can see it. It's this spike high here, and which kind of matches up with this and this base here. So you got a decent around 10. Decent base support. Otherwise, you don't have much till 7, 8, 9. So, yeah. So I'll be semi-interested around $10. I'll put an alert right around 10.39. There's the alert. Thank you for coming up on that one. It didn't come up on this one, but it put up the alert. So other than that, I'm not going to really watch it too crazy because its normal volume is 54 million. So we're not even at what? We're not even at 2.5%. Yeah, nothing crazy. Yeah, or 5% maybe right now, or not even 5%. So nothing crazy. IMBI normal volume is 57K and it's at 1.2 million. So it's moving pretty good. So let's pull up IMBI. So right now, MICT is the big watcher. So we closed around 578, almost doubled, pretty much doubled. And so we'll put resistance at spike high, and then let's check it out on the weekly and see what that translates to. 916, so it's all-time highs. Okay, so we got an all-time highs. We have a base around 6.9, kind of these spikes here, spike here. So now that I pick my levels, okay. It's early morning pre-market, probably a lot of buyers in Asia, but it hasn't maintained follow-through. And you're seeing a lot of that in stocks lately, that a lot of the small caps have not been following through on their early pre-market gains. Yeah, MICT was very similar to that, you know, huge up in Asia and Europe, late Asia and early Europe, and then it's fading a lot of the gains. So yeah, I'll keep an alert here. I'll watch it. If it's kind of a corrective move down in here and it looks like it's going to hold, time and sales looks good, price action looks good, volume looks good, then I'll try for a move up towards 822. Otherwise, this thing could just fade right back down to where it all started. So yeah, 575. All right, potential. Not my favorite. I like MICT a little bit better. TLSA, same thing. You're seeing the same thing with small caps as of late. And so big gains, early Europe and late Asia, and then VBIV. Do I have a position in VBIV? I think I do have a position in VBIV. That's, I hope it gains. Okay, so let's hear. Yeah, TLSA is kind of the same thing. TLSA. Yeah. Big early pre-market and then losing a lot of the gains. So what's the volume on this? 746 and it's 855K. Okay, so it's almost normal daily volume. 646 is a spike high. Yeah, I'm going to pass on this one. I'm not a fan of this one. And then VBIB. I have a position on this one here. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is actually a constructive chart. Now we go. Ready? Good to see you. PV Mohan Kumar, Om Namah Shivaya. I need your help, boss. Okay, fair enough. You have to be a little bit more specific than that. When you say you need my help, what do you mean? Be a little more specific. Okay, VBIV. Okay, that's a constructive chart. It's actually building. It didn't like fade its early gains. So we're only up 60 cents, which is about 15%. What's the volume? 570K and 13 million. So volume is not exactly gangbusters. It's on the lower end of the volume, but the chart is very, very constructive. So let's see where this whole thing kind of breaks out. 416. It's not really much on the weekly here. 416 doesn't really mean much on the weekly. So I feel like I'd want to pull back 418, which is this kind of resistance here. It's kind of choppy. It's not the best. Or at like 375, maybe 386. So between 417 and 386, I would be relatively okay with a pullback long. And VWAP is trying to catch up to that. So I'll set an alarm here first. And if it gets to that, let's put another alarm here as well. I don't think it'll get to 386, but it's certainly possible. So I'd like to take a pullback on this one. I don't want to be buying a breakout because you got a lot of resistance. So I'd rather buy pullback and then launch higher on this one here. But the chart is very, very constructive on the 5-minute. This is a good building chart. It's holding VWAP on pullbacks. It's continuing to push higher. Is volume picking up yet? 612. Yeah, it's still not there though. I generally like to see a little more volume than it. Like 1 million shares gets me excited, but 600K is on the low end. You know, if you start taking big positions of like 10, 20,000 shares, you might not get the best fill in this. You might get some slippage. So I'll wait for a pullback. I'm going to watch the open though. This is a good mover. It's got a constructive price action. It's got the best price action looking so far for a big move. MICT, IMBI are kind of fading. So, all right. Nice to see you ready as well. Good to see you. Okay, so let's take a look at a few others that are moving pretty well right now. So not SPC, GDX, very constructive. Gold has found a really good base. We had talked about that 39 would be a really good base for potential bounce. Why was 39? Because it was a prior resistance high here. It formed a corrective structure. So there was some profit taking, was some selling. So this was your kind of base area, 39 to 37.75. And it held the first pullback level and has since launched higher. I'm long GDX right now. So I got options on this. I got stock position on this here. And so this is very, very constructive. If it can get above 44.36, which is not much more than it is, then it should put pressure on 45.29. So could be a potential for a good kind of dollar move there. And if it breaks the all-time highs, then you got to step back. And there's a lot more going on in terms of upsides. This is very constructive from a weekly chart as well. It's kind of a similar pattern. Pull back to prior resistance area, launches higher, makes new swing highs, pull back to prior resistance area. And it looks like it kind of wants to launch. It's had 3 weeks of, profit taking, consolidating some gains. And so, yeah, it's looking very, very constructive. If it does get back to here, I'll just add on to my position. I like being long at 39, so I'll just add on to it, no problem. Take profit towards the highs and look for a breakout. If we break through the yearly highs, we got a lot of upside available. You're talking 50 being big round number. That's to be expected, but I would be targeting more like 53. So if we get to 53, that's a big payday. That's a big, big payday for Papa Bear here. That is a big payday. So yeah, I'm liking that a lot. Also SLV, very, very similar. Let's step back on, it kind of just did the same thing. So let's take a look at 4 hour. Very, very constructive. So prior resistance, corrective structure, kind of a little bit of a pullback, pulls back. So this is a great area. If you're not long and you do get a pullback here, that's a very good area to get long, in my opinion. I really like getting long there. So now you're kind of creating, if we look at the weekly, it's had less of a pullback than GDX because silver's catching up in the sense it didn't, gold boomed and then silver slowly started to break out a little bit later. So it's not as much profit taking. But if the monthly VWAP holds, then you're going to put pressure on these upper ranges here. There's a really good basis support around 18 MICT. What are you doing? Okay, so you come back to that area. Yeah, you're losing a lot of pre-market gains. It's not exciting. You got this kind of 23 right here, which looks a little bit better on the 4 hour. So here's your structure right now. This is what you have to be paying attention to. You want to be playing inside of here, watch for the break of this. It gets down to here. I'd have to be a buyer, in my opinion, and I'd be targeting the upper ranges of this. If we break out of this, then we go to weekly, and there's a lot more upside on silver. Next resistance comes in at, yeah, this is a big level right here. 26 is a big level. It breaking, holding above this is good. That's very, very good. So 30 will be your next. That's going to be your next target. And then 32.65. This upper range right here, which could go all the way up to 35, these little spikes, it's going to start targeting that. If it gets above here and it gets above the yearly highs, then it's going to start targeting 30 and then these spikes. Break above 30, now you're starting to get into the stratosphere here. So some really good upside potential, 40 and 46 and the all-time highs at 47. If we were to hit if we hit the all-time highs again, that is again a huge payday for Papa Bear here. That is a very, very big payday. That's a very nice payday. So that's what I'm seeing. Precious metals are coming back again. They're looking very, very strong. I like them right now. YSSJC, my gambling trader. Hi, Sir Chris. I have a quick question. Do you set a daily profit target? For example, if I hit 2% gain in my account today, I will stop trading for the day. No, I do not. Why I have a goal. I have a daily goal, and my daily goal is to capture a dollar in the stock market. So if I'm long silver at 25, my daily goal is to capture it at 20, to get it at least to move to 26. I have a daily goal, but I don't stop trading if I hit that daily goal. So from my experience, people who do that, you don't trust your skills. And let me explain why. If the market's hot, you want to be taking advantage of it. You should be trading. If you have trade setups, you're not violating your risk parameters, you're on a roll, you've hit your daily goal, why would you stop trading? You'd only stop trading if you fear, the consequences of making too much money. Generally, people who have the practice of setting a daily goal and then they hit that daily goal and they just shut off for the day, those are people who are not used to making a whole lot of profit consistently. They generally, it just doesn't make much sense. So like, okay, your daily goal is 2%. You hit your daily goal at 2%, but you got 3 or 4, 5 good setups right in front of you. Why would you not take them? Your job is to capture alpha. Your job is to capture opportunities in the market. So you hit your goal, but yet there's perfectly good trade setups according to your trading plan. It's exactly the setups that you make good money on, and you're just going to pass on that. That makes no sense. You wouldn't do that in business. You wouldn't be like, oh, we sold 10,000 orders of our product today. We have a big buyer that wants to come in for, they want to buy 20,000 more of our product. And we're going to say no because we've hit our daily goal today. Like, you would never do that. So it just doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, to do that. People who do that are trading from fear because they don't fully trust their skills yet. Would that be something you'd want to do if you're still building your skills? Like, if to get 2% daily goal is not a common thing for you, if you're not consistently making money month after month, then would that be a situation I'd recommend it? Possibly, because maybe you're someone who just needs to build up confidence in wins. Like, you're not making money consistently and you're not making money, on a regular basis. Okay. And you need to just have a few wins to kind of get your confidence back up. Okay. Under that scenario, I might be okay with it. But if you're making money every single month, you're consistently profitable, you'd never do that. You would just never do that. You're a business that's struggling and you get a big order and, it's huge. And then, somebody else wants to take an order and you're not quite sure whether you can handle that new order or something like that. You wouldn't be able to process or meet the volume requirements or whatever that is. Okay. But only under those kind of very narrow range of circumstances. Otherwise, no, I would not recommend it. I would not recommend it. It's just not the habit of someone who makes money consistently. So yeah, hopefully I answer your question. Victor, good to see you as well. Dropping in to say hi. Hi. Good to see you. Mero Binji, what's your thoughts on market makers and institutional players? They make markets and they're large players. I don't really have any thoughts on them. Is there something you specifically would like me? Is there something specifically you'd like me to comment on that, Mero Binji? Like, what are my thoughts on market makers and institutional players? Do I think they're out to get you? And that kind of thing, or if you could be a little more specific, but they're market makers. I trade with my market maker. I don't have any problem with them. They don't have any problem with me. I don't have problems with institutional players. In some sense, I'm not an institutional player, but I am a professional retail trader. So, I'm kind of on that in-between zone. I don't know if there's a fixed level that, like, once you get your market account above this level, you're an institutional player or not. I don't know what that is. Could be 5 million, 10 million or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, if you have a more specific question, let me know. PV Mohan Kumar, Om Namah Shivaya. Yeah. Is that part of your name? Is that part of your name, PV Mohan Kumar Om Namah Shivaya? Is that part of your name? Because you repeated it again. Maybe it is. I am joining. How can you tell me, boss? In terms of joining, Sasha can't post, right? Sasha, my assistant. You can just go to, and the market's open. You can just go to here, pick the course that you want to join. You can order directly from there and become a member. That's the easiest way to become a member. Mara Binji, manipulating the market. I don't have any issues about market makers or institutional players manipulating the market. They're not. This is kind of if you want to find an excuse to make money, then create a ghost called market makers and institutional players manipulating the market. That's the best way to find an excuse to lose money. You never hear me sitting there. Like, I've been doing this for 20 years. We've had the business since 2007, 13 years. You have never in the 13 years ever heard me say, oh, those market makers, they're manipulating the prices in the market, and those institutional players are manipulating the market. Like, no, you don't. That's an excuse for a loser. That's what a loser does. I've never said that in 13 years, ever. You can go through every article, every video. You will never, ever hear me say, oh, those market makers and institutional players are manipulating the market. You never hear me say that, because I don't make excuses for my performance. I am responsible for my performance. I choose to participate in this market, and I understand that there are certain things that may or may not happen if I'm involved in this market, but I don't blame anybody for anything except myself. I take full responsibility. You're never going to succeed in life if you're going to find other people to blame for your wins and losses. There's just no way you're ever going to succeed in life if you find people to blame. I don't blame anybody. I take 100% responsibility for my performance. And yes, I understand there are certain things that are outside of my control, and there's nothing I can do about that. But the things that are outside of my control, there's no point in making excuses about that. There's no point in blaming anything about that. I am choosing to participate in this market. I understand certain things may or may not be fair or unfair or whatever it is, but I am 100% responsible for my performance. And if you want to be a winner, not just in trading, but in life, stop finding ways to make excuses and stop worrying about the things you can't control and focus on what you can control. There are plenty of people. If you are right, that there are people manipulating the market and shaking you out. If you are right, well, there's nothing you can do about it, is there? There's nothing you can do about that. Can you control that? No, you can't control that. So if you can't control it and there's nothing you can do about it, well, then focus on the things you can control. And that whole shaking you out of the market, they didn't force you to get in where you did. They didn't force you to put your stop loss where you did. They didn't force you to have the risk parameters where you did. You chose that. So whatever you can do, Mero, to avoid blaming others and not taking 100% responsibility, do that. As soon as you start ascribing responsibility to other people, to other forces, that there's nothing you can do about it, there's nothing you can control, you are giving up control of your performance. You are giving up control of your responsibility. And nobody wins. You'll never be a winner if you're constantly giving up control. You will never, ever, ever be a winner if you're giving up control. You can only be a winner if you accept 100% responsibility, you focus on what you can control, whatever you can't control, you can't, and that's it. I never sit here and like, I've never once in 13 years of Second Skies trading, have I ever said like, oh, market makers shook me out of the market. Oh, they manipulated the market. That's not a winner's mindset. I don't know that's true. And you have no evidence of that being true. There's no way you'll have evidence of that being true. There's no way you could ever prove and establish 100% that they shook you out of the market. The market moves the way it moves. That's it. They do not give a shit about you. They do not. If you are an elephant, do you care about an ant on your path? No. Retail players are ants compared to the institutional players. If you're a shark in the water, do you care about the minnows? No, you do not. You don't worry about them. You don't divert course and give up the big prey just to go for this little small group of minnows over here. It's ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. If you're on a forum or something like that, and there's people complaining about market makers and institutional players manipulating and shaking out, run as far away from that as you can. You want nothing to do with that. I want nothing to do with that. I don't want to be in a forum where people hold the mindset of losers, because that's not how I'm going to win. Granted, it's possible some of my students have that mindset, but my job is to get them out of that mindset. So I will work with them in that aspect. But other than that, you will never, ever, ever hear me say those words. So if you want a bit of advice, take to heart what I just said there, Mero. You will do a lot better in your performance if you get that out of your mind, get that out of your language. Don't even say that. Don't even think it. Hey, I chose to get in this level. I chose to put my stop loss where I did. I chose to enter at the time that I did. I chose the direction that I did. I'm responsible. Hold that like very, very personally and seriously. And then you put the power back in your hands, because then you are focusing on what you can control. That is your path. So hopefully that answers your question. PV I'm a new guy to trading. I don't know how I can do trading. We have a lot of free material on that, PV Mohan Kumar. We have a lot of free material on our website, secondskiesforex.com. So if you just go to that, you can see a lot of our free material there. You can see all our free material. We have a free Forex course. We're building a free stock trading course. We are finishing up an intro to options course very, very soon. So, whether you want to trade Forex or whether you want to trade stocks or whether you want to trade options, we have that material. The Forex material is already there. Stock trading should be out a whole free stock trading course should be out in September. The options bootcamp, we are launching that September 12th. We will have a free intro to options ebook coming out next week or something like that. So very, very soon. We're already finishing up chapter 4 and 5 today. I have 9 chapters. So we're cruising along on that very fast. So you can start with the free stuff, get your primer down, get your foundation down, get your skills down, get your practice down. Make sure you understand the language. Make sure you got all that down before you even consider live money. Practice on simulator, then demo, then live. That's the path. Mara says, thank you for your honesty and response. You're welcome, Mara. That is something you will always get from me. So I hope that gives you something very powerful for your mindset to work with, and that it shifts your trading, because that's huge. That's very huge to make that shift. It's a very, very important shift to make. Okay, let's take a look at, let's see here, VBIV, pulling back to support. So yeah, I'll watch time and sales on this one here. So keep an eye on VBIV, MICT, held our little 6th level. So very strong buying at the open. Okay, so if we get a little bit of a dip of pullback, then I'll watch that. Look to get long. That gives you about $1 to work with. IMBI is already breaking through this first level support, so you got to go deeper on that. GDX looks, yeah, it's very, very close. So a little bit of pre-market profit taking, but GDX looks like it's going to attack that. SLV is holding VWAP very, very well. So SLV is holding VWAP very, very well, very constructive. Watch for corrected pullbacks to 26, maybe sub a little 26, 25, 65 as potential areas of short-term support. If it looks corrective, price action looks good, time and sales looks good, there's a potential long for you there. DKNG holding above 35. DKNG is building, which is very nice. I have a very large position on it. So it's building a nice structure. You can see this is a structure we've been talking about for a while. And now it's using this as a base of support, and it's holding the weekly VWAP. Very, very constructive. So 34.75, if it can base here and break 34.60, then you got 37.88 up to 38.75 and 39. If we break that, woo, once we get back up into the mid 42s, 43s, that's again another big payday for Papa Bear here. So very, very good stuff. Anything else I want to cover for today? No, ES is very mild today. Again, very mild in the indices right now. So, okay, so that's pretty much it. Oh, we got a few questions. Maru says, wanted to hop in during lunch to say that your work has been inspirational and super helpful. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I hope towards making FX a good source of income. That's a real thing. That is a very real thing. Sasha right now, our course instructor, he's getting funded. He's just been crushing it lately. He's up 30%, I think, in the last couple months. And so we are setting up a structure to fund him. And there are other traders that are, I have a lot of traders this year that a lot of my students that are, hey, I'm ready to go full time. Here's my numbers. They support it. They're profitable. They, some of them wanted like just give up their jobs and go full time. They were that, they were that ready. So we have a lot of people who are just really breaking out this year. It's just such a great year for the school because the students are really starting to crush it now. So yeah, so awesome. I'm glad we've been helpful, and I'm glad we've been inspirational towards that. Mero Benji saying, I need to elevate my game. I'm break even 1.5 years in. How could Second Skies assist me in my progression? Well, so if you join the price action course, that's our main course. We teach you the skills, the price action skills, and the mindset to break through that. If you're break even the last 1.5 years, then you're probably got maybe, I would say, 2 or 3 habits that you need to change and rewire. And the key is to be able to isolate those and then come up with a game plan to rewire those. So, if you're break even, then the line between you and profitability is not thick, it's thin. But the problem is that you have to have the skill to isolate those behaviors and patterns. If you've been break even for 1.5 years, clearly you don't have the skills to isolate them because you've had almost 2 years to isolate those particular habits, those particular things that are holding you back. And so that's what a mentor is for. That's my job, is to find the holes in your game, the areas where you're not optimizing your performance, and what are things that you're doing that are continually leaking alpha, that are leaking profits, because that's probably what's happening. If you're break even for a year and a half, you're leaking profits. And you're underperforming in very specific areas you remove those and then you're making money. But you haven't been able to find that 1.5 years. That's what a community and that's what a mentor is for. So, we do these types of webinars for our price action course members every single week, every single Friday. And so you'd have an opportunity to get that kind of feedback and analysis and see what's going on. So yeah, hopefully I answered your question. Give me a trading link. I sent you a link in there, PV Mohan Kumar. You can see all the materials on our website, secondskiesforex.com. Maru says, small question. Do you apply the VWAP similar to the 20 MA? I have a little experience with VWAP. Yes and no. You can treat VWAP as dynamic support and resistance, but it's more than that. You can't just treat it like a 20 MA. It's very, very different. So VWAP, we have a whole video on, let me see here. Hold on a second. Let me get to that video. We have a whole video on VWAP that'll be good to practice. It'll be like a good primer. Okay, here you go. So start with this. And that will give you the primer, foundation, and knowledge to start understanding VWAP, how VWAP is different than just a EMA. Because an EMA is based on price action. VWAP is based on actual flow data, time and sales, volume, time, and sales. So how many shares are being traded at a particular price at a particular time? That's different. EMA is not like that. EMA is based on price action. It's not based on volume and the number of shares being traded. So yeah, watch that video. That will give you a good foundation and primer to start learning more. We go deeper into the VWAP, into the stock trading course. Sell. Is there any difference in trading futures and stock? Yeah, there is some differences. In terms of price action, I haven't really spent a whole lot of time in futures, but not really from what I've seen. I haven't really done a whole lot of futures trading. Very, very little of my time. From what I've seen, no. Like, this is a futures chart. I don't really see a whole lot in terms of the price action. There are some other differences. The course you teach, the price action course, will be applicable to futures trading. Yes, it is, because the price action concepts and methods and strategies we teach you they work on any instrument, any time frame, any environment. They are core principles of order flow and price action. So it's not dependent upon the market. It's not dependent upon the instrument or anything like that. They are the same patterns that repeat themselves in all markets. Each market does have its own intricacies and uniqueness. Like bond markets are going to move differently than, say, futures S&P, maybe different than gold. Gold is incredibly volatile. S&P is not. S&P is not meant to be volatile. It's an index of 500 stocks, which is meant to reduce volatility. Gold is different. So there are differences in the individual instruments and indices, but the core principles of price action are still the same. So Wall saying, with the land hurricane wiping out all of crops in Iowa, do you think corn and soybean futures will follow lumber's move? Yeah, it's a good question. Lumber right now, or wood lumber futures, are looking very, very strong. I'm not totally sure about corn and soybean. I haven't been watching them in a little bit, but I have been watching the lumber futures, and they look very, very strong. So yeah, it's certainly possible. All the fires we have going on right now, California, there's just a lot of crazy things going on in the weather right now. So that's definitely a potential play. Personally, I think most commodities, save for precious metals, I think most commodities are well underpriced right now. I think commodities are inexpensive right now, and I think they're going to get more expensive. So I'm bullish on commodities, very, very bullish on commodities, particularly precious metals right now. Super helpful. Thanks for the insight. You're welcome, Mara. Do you use VWAP on FX when volume is provided? No, because the difference is that when volume is provided in FX, it's only broker related. It's not centralized. So the FX market's not centralized. It's opaque. It's decentralized. So VWAP wouldn't work, because the VWAP that you have is only your broker's volume. It's not what's happening in the global market. So it's like you have one piece of the puzzle and there's 100 pieces, and you can't base it. VWAP is based on the centralized volume going through the markets in the stock market. Stock markets are centralized. FX is not. So hopefully I answered your question. Anyways, thanks for the answers. Won't bother you now. You're not bothering me. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to look into the stocks course. Cool. It's an awesome course. Once you start looking at stocks and FX, you have two very powerful weapons. FX by itself, I think, is insufficient. Stocks by itself is pretty amazing, because you got 30,000 plus stocks in the US. You're talking some of the biggest instruments on the planet. You got tons of instruments. FX, you only got so many pairs. Sometimes there's just not going to be enough movement in the FX markets. Stocks, you're always going to have movement, whether it's small cap, mid cap, large cap, mega cap, you're always going to have movement. And you got more volatility. You got way more volatility. There's no FX pair that's moving 100%, in the early session. It's just not going to happen. So, okay, cool. Well, we've gone over a lot of good stuff today. Some really good questions and participation. Maru Wallball, Mero Binji, Cell, all some very good questions across the board. YSSJC, that was a very good question as well. And also to the regulars for coming in here. So I will see you guys next Tuesday. We do this every Tuesday. And every now and then we do we'll do a free Friday webinar on YouTube. First Friday of every month we'll do it. And then sometimes I just do a random one. I may do one this Friday. Never know. So stay tuned. But other than that, good luck trading. I'm going to be with my members now. We got live trading session in the stock trading course area. So I hope to see you there. Other than that, good luck trading this week. Keep an eye on MICT, IMBD. Check out GDX, SLV, all very strong players right now. So that's pretty much it. Good luck trading, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.